Um, First things first, before I go into that, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a true crime channel where we cover every topic under the sun, under the crime umbrella. And if you have any suggestions, send it over to me. I'll be glad to cover it. But if you have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, and it just helps to get the algorithm out there for people, especially when I cover missing cases, because you never know who's gonna see something and might know something. So, but there's that. So let's go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about today. So Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean, crazy as you like 'em, Combs. So the the jury came down with a decision finally. So he was charged with 5 things. One of the biggest one being RICO, the Racketeering Act, 2 charges of sex trafficking, and then there was also prostitution, all these transportation for prostitution, all that stuff. So they have found him guilty of only one thing, and that was transportation to engage in prostitution. That is it. The most he can get for this charge is 10 years. The minimum he can get is some fines. So, I'm so much hoping that he gets the 10 years, but who knows? I really thought they had him on the racketeering, but I guess the jury didn't feel that way. So, like I said, he could get away with paying some fines, or he's going to get 10 years. Like I said, I hope he gets the 10 years. He needs some type of accountability for his behavior for the last 4 decades or 3 decades, because he's never been made to be held accountable for anything. And that says a lot. So there's that. Like, it's crazy because I was looking up the statute, like what the time and all that stuff could be. If any of the victims were under the age of 18, he would have gotten a minimum of 10 years. But because everybody was an adult that they used in this case and to testify and give evidence, because they're all over 18, that's why he can walk away with just paying some fines. I think they had a hard time prosecuting him for the RICO Act because, I think they had a hard time prosecuting him because they didn't charge anybody else with it. They just said he was the mastermind and everybody else under him did what he said. But they should have charged some other people, like Christina Coram, that KK chick. Her name kept being brought up throughout the entire trial. She was his personal assistant. She knows where the bodies are buried. They should have charged her butt, or at least given her immunity and forced her to testify, something, because it makes no sense that they had such lower level people testifying on this. And then, if anything, I like to hope that the last girlfriend he had, that Jane woman who testified at the end, her actual name is Joy. She's an ex-girlfriend of 50 Cent. She, if anybody, was with him up until the day that he was arrested. And she claimed he hurt her too. So she could actually charge domestic violence against him. I don't know why she doesn't pursue those charges. But everybody who has testified in this court case better hope to God he gets some time, because if he gets loose, there's going to be a lot of targets out there, because this man does not give a damn. So, like I said, I hope to God they give him the 10 years. When we'll find out about his sentence, I have no idea, but 10 years, he should at least get that. Now, let's get on to, we found a body in McCleanville. So the body of a 15-year-old girl named Promise was found in a house in McCleanville earlier today. I don't know if she's been missing. Not a whole lot of information has come out about that, but she's 15 years old. That is the second 15-year-old from this area that has been found dead. And this is just getting to be too much. Chance Jenkins was found last week, and he had been missing for 2 weeks. So, yeah, these kids just need to just be careful. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, because this is just new information. I'm finding very little anything about her at all right now. And to get everybody riled up, let's talk about Carmelo Anthony. So the family is asking for $1.3 million in donations to help get them through this time. Now, they've already gotten over $500,000, and they're saying they don't have any more money. So where did it go? Because they're saying they need money to move and security and lawyers and all this other stuff. Like I said, I'm really concerned about the first $500,000 that they got, because that talking mouthpiece, that Dominique Wilkinson, or whatever his name is, the CEO of the Next Generation Action Network, that guy, if he got his hands on any of that money, people need to call fraud, because that man is a con man. He's got convictions of fraud domestic violence, child abuse, not a good person. And why you continue to have him talking for your family is beyond me. People are trying to say that the first-degree murder charge is racist. No, it's not, because until they can prove that it was self-defense, which I don't see how they're going to be able to, this is an apropos charge for Carmelo Anthony. He took somebody's life. He took Austin Metcalf's life. Simple as that. The video surveillance footage that people have been able to view and have been talking about, they said that the whole thing, you don't even see where an altercation even happened. You don't even see where Austin approached him and it became like a fight and then he got stabbed. It literally, like, you see two people and then the stabbing. And they said it was very, very fast. So that doesn't give enough time for anything to be kicking off like that. But like I said, for me, on Carmelo, I would like to know, was he in the habit of carrying a knife on him? Is that something he did every day? Because that makes that weapon and a weapon of opportunity. Whereas if he didn't do that and he just threw a knife in there on this day, then the question is why, which means he had intent to do something to somebody with that knife. So, no, but I mean, this family, they are not looking good. The Anthonys are not looking good. Especially I've been seeing back and forth of Drew Anthony and Austin Metcalf's father going back and forth on social media. I mean, Drew Anthony just doesn't need to engage, and Austin Metcalf's father he's grieving, so he has a right to grieve, but I think he also needs to muffle himself a little bit, because this back and forth is not solving anything. It's going to be probably at least a year or so before this goes to trial. And Carmelo's own defense attorney got on there and said, oh, that's the thing about grand juries, they only see what they are shown by the prosecution, which is the bad stuff. So, the truth will come out when we go to court. And I'm like, okay, what truth is that? Are you going to put this guy, put Carmelo on the stand to testify on his own behalf? Because, how's he going to explain why he had that knife? How's he going to explain what happened? Because I don't think that kid, and he's a kid, he was 17 when he committed the crime. I don't think he's going to be able to stand up to a cross-examination by the prosecution. I think he's going to crumple like a cheap suit. That's what I really think. So, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, this is just a very sad situation, no matter how you look at it. And this mess with Diddy, like I said, I pray to God he gets to 10 years, because anybody who has testified against him in these trials are going to be massive targets. I know one guy that did security for him is living in Europe now because he's getting death threats because of things that he knows. So, I don't know. But I'm going to hop off here because I have nothing else I need to say at this moment. But love your children, hug them. This world's crazy. This world's absolutely crazy. And we have too many kids missing and too many kids dying right now, and it shouldn't be happening. So, but once I know more about the Diddy stuff, I'll be back on. But as I always say, be weird, be safe. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Subscribe, share, like, comment, all that good stuff. And if you think Diddy deserves that 10 years, let me know. And if you think he deserves more than 10 years, let me know. And if you think he should have been exonerated of everything, let me know. I'd like to know in the comments.